So we've drawn, and now we've taped, and now we're going to wet. So I've got a big mop brush. I'm not bragging. And I'm putting water all over. No puddles, but thoroughly wet. And then we'll just wait a few seconds to let it soak in. Whoa, nearly had the water over. You can't see the sheen on mine, not through there, but I can. That's it. Just, I want it really quite wet because we want to be able to move this around a bit. We don't need to lift it, but and tilt it, but we just need to the paint not to dry too quickly. And the colours we're using are basically an ochre yellow, a pink, and a soft blue. And in my case, I'm going to use the quinacridone gold, quinacridone pink, and ultramarine with a little bit of Payne's grey as well, because we're going to need that. So we're going to do a graduated wash, which is why the paper is wet. Very wet, but not in rivers. I'm just checking. I'm looking at the sides where the tape is, see if I've got any pools of water. If I have, I'm just going to soak them up a bit. Basically, I'm doing this whilst I'm waiting for the paper to get wet and to soak in. And I'm also just wiping those edges there. That's good. And now just a little bit more water because it's soaked in a bit. And we've got a good sheen. So start off with, we want the yellowy colour, whatever yellow you're using. So mine is gold. So I'm just going to make a pool of it. So that's what we've got there. Quite runny. We can always thicken it up later. And then whilst we're doing that, I may as well do the pink. So in a different bit of the palette, some pink. So we've got pink. Clean the brush. And then we've got some ultramarine. So there we are, some ultramarine. So you can see they're all quite runny. We can always thicken it if we need. The other thing we will need is a clean, damp brush, but that's later, well, in a few minutes. And we're going to start off with, what are we doing first? Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Sunrise, okay. Sunrise it is. So, this is sunrise. As you can see, it's much more muted, but we've still got the same colours in there, different proportions and perhaps in different places, but it's still there. Okay, so sunrise. We're going to start off with the blue. So I get my blue, just check the paper once more.
It's dried up.
And blue at the top. Blue at the top. This is where, if you're using yellow as opposed to an ochre, you're going to be, you might get into trouble because we might go green because it's yellow next. Then a bit of pink going partly over the yellow. So you've got a peachy colour. And then perhaps a bit more of the pink. We don't want this to dry very dark. And the pink goes down almost to the mountains. And then clean the brush and we go back into the blue, and the blue goes over. A thin line of blue down the bottom there. Then coming down in the sea, in the blue bit. Oh. Then some pink. Then some gold or ochre or whatever. And then some blue. So it just looks like that and you think, my God. There. I'm going to just leave it a few seconds. I'm going to wipe up any paint that's on the tape. The shades are all very muted, not muted. So I've got up any excess water and paint that's on the tape. The blue should be around the mountains and the island. That should be blue. So with a soft but damp brush, not too wet at all, we're just going to very, very gently blend in. Just pulling it across, I'm hardly touching it. And then I'm giving it a wipe because it'll have picked up colour. I'm just gently blending in those lines, just pulling them into each other. I'm not really moving the paint around on the, and I'm wiping it on a piece of tissue every few strokes. It's really, really gentle touch. Oops, that was a nice picture of my hand you had there. I'm pulling some of the yellow down into the pink and some of the pink up into the yellow. And then depending on whether you've got, you've got ochre or yellow. Be very careful when you get to this point with the yellow and the blue. If you've got ochre, you're fine. Or sienna. If you've got yellow. Don't do it too much. It's waving around. That's because I keep hitting it. Yeah, just doing it on the diagonal a bit here and there so that it goes into each other. And that is
It runs dried.
that. If it's dry, stop, because it won't move, which is why I put a lot of water on, waited, put some more on, waited. And I mean, mine is drying now. And to be honest, I wouldn't want to do any more. That's enough. There we are. So it's a very soft blend of well, blues, yellows, pinks, blues, yellows, pinks, blues. Really. I think the next bit is to dry that off. So I'm going to stop the recording. So now that that's all dry, I'm going to use the quinacridone gold to start doing my. Oh no, we're doing. Oh, we're doing sunrise, aren't we? So it's not quinacridone gold. It's cobalt blue. Cobalt blue on the mountains.
Cobalt, not. Oh, right.
Oh, sorry, ultramarine. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me. I've got my blues all. On the mountains, it's a light mix. And it's just blocking in that mountain. But you can even do the island at the front. We're going to go over that with a darker colour. But so we've got the light mountain range at the back. Because a sunrise, you don't see the colours as vividly as with a sunset. Well, that's what I'm saying, so that's that. Make sure you keep your horizon line straight. And then we need to dry. So with that same brush and some more ultramarine, perhaps just a little bit darker, just add a couple bit more into it because we want it to show up against the background mountains, the ones at the back. So I'm just, see, I didn't dry it very well. Just doing another line. So we've got two, what seems like mountains behind mountains, and you can actually do that one as well. We are going to darken that up. I've managed to go over the line there, which is naughty.
Dry enough.
So, and just darken it up just a touch. And then I'm going to, now that that's dry, I'm just going to get a little bit of Payne's grey on my, I'm using a very thin brush, a liner here, and on the horizon line, I'm actually making, with the Payne's grey, a line that, and it looks like there's another line of, because I'm not doing it straight at the top, I'm doing it like
Payne's grey.
And then we come to the island. I'm going to do the same with the island, making that line there. Then I'm going to mix a little bit of pink, the pink, with the Payne's grey to get a dark, well, it's almost a moon glow. If you've got moon glow, use that. And I'm going to do the island in that mauvey colour that I've made up with Payne's grey and pink. And at this point, whilst we're waiting for that to dry, we can do some birds. A very small brush. Birds take your eye across the page. So I've started off there and making it go to the left. You can do as few or as many as you want, or you can miss them out entirely. And there's one just hovering over the water. So that's him. So it's an upward stroke, a little dot and a downward stroke. And I need to have a reflection of him there. And with your finger, very gently, pull it through the reflection. I was doing that whilst I waited for the island to dry. I'm going to get the neat Payne's grey. Just put that back in at the bottom of the island. It will bleed up into it, which is good, which is what we want. And then whilst we're waiting for the next bit, the island, to dry, we can get on with the grasses at the front. I'm using a mixture of the pink with the Payne's grey. So we got this mauve. And I'm not sure whether I want to use this small long round or liner. I'm going to see. Don't press too hard. Come from the bottom. And then just one line and some feathery bits. They can overcross. And I'm going to swap to just Payne's grey now. And the liner, and just have some small ones. In the corner there, coming across a bit, getting shorter as you come towards the middle. Some of my Payne's grey ones have gone over the mauvey coloured, which is fine because they don't grow in order. And then I'm just doing some small sideward strokes. Of the brush, holding it sideways and pushing it up, and then pushing it down and then letting it letting the pressure off. Oops. Going to do a few grasses the same sort of way. So on the side, the brush is using, instead of going like that, I'm going like that. So I don't want them to meet in the middle. And I'm just going to do, you can put this in or not, it's up to you. I'm just going to do a thin tree, a small tree, just winding its way up. It's one of those weedy things you see on the side of the lake or the river. It's probably dead because it's got no leaves. Just give it a few little twiggy things on the end. It's a very thin tree, not much substance to it at all. And then I'm just fiddling now. Just made those weeds on the right into bulrushes by just stiffening the top slightly and just giving it it's like a little square with a bit sticking out the top. I'll put rocks in the other one. I don't think I will this one, but if you want to, put rocks by the shore here. Just sticking a bit of grass in there. And what's left to do on this one is the trees on the island. Payne's grey again. Just a little line down. And then wiggle your brush down. They can be at funny angles, they don't have to be dead upright. That one's not got much paint on it. You can do as many as you want. I think I'm just going to do 2 there. 3. That's it. That's all I'm going to have on that island. And the other thing I'm going to do is go back into the light blue, the ultramarine, and just do where the yellow turns into the blue approximately, just draw a line, a wiggly line. Then with a clean damp brush, just agitate that bottom of it a bit. And pull it so that it disappears a bit. Shadows. Okay, we've got to do some reflections. So look at, with a bigger brush, not too thick a to start off with, thicker mix of Payne's Grey. Do reflections in the shape of that island a bit. Neatly spot on. And then with the thin brush, just pull it out to the side. So it's got a jaggedy line. And then for the trees, follow down from where your tree is, start it off and pull it down. And then you can use your finger. To pull down. Just make sure that the line, the shoreline of the island is dark. I just run another little line of Payne's Grey. That's it. Pull it down and you've got your reflections. And I think that's it really. I'm just going to do a couple more birds. Flying about. We could have had ducks, obviously, but we won't have ducks. Not on this one. And that's okay. Remembering that we need a little bit darker tones. I'm going to do the gold over what will become mountains and into the sea. I need a little bit darker than that but we don't want to be orange. Okay, so I've got more going up into the sky than I have into the sea, only because there's more sky. Then with the pink, we go over the orange a bit, so that it goes over the gold, so it goes orangey.
Oh.
Then we go up a little bit with that. Then we have pure pink, so we then, whoa, have a band of pink. And we forgot to do the orangey bit in the sea. That goes over the gold. And we have pure pink. Then we have the blue at the top. Go right up to the top with it. And at the bottom, then mix your blue with the pink. Blue with the pink. Blue, pink. More to the blue side than the pink side, she says, after shoving loads of pink in. And just do a line at the top. Excuse my hand. The top and the bottom. I just let it be for a few moments. If you think that you need to go a bit darker on one of them and you've still got plenty of water on there, that's the time to do it. going to give that orangey feel a bit there, and it's there. A little bit more orange. In fact, that looks like a whole shed load more orange, to be honest. Pink and blue. Followed by mauve at the bottom. Okay. We now need that brush again that does the blending. So clean, damp brush, tissue in your other hand. Make sure it's clean. Nice clean piece of tissue. Take out most of the water. Start at the middle, the yellow, and just gently pull across, up and down as well, just to move that paint around very carefully. So you're moving it into the orange, or you're moving the orange into right. So wipe the brush, the orange into the pink now, orange into pink. Right.
That looks nice. Okay.
Okay, pink into blue. White brush, pink into blue. I'm not happy how my orange is going to the pink, so I just add a bit more of a play, and then the blue into the mauve, or the mauve into the blue. It's only the slightest touch, just to move, whoops, just to move paint around slightly. I've got some bands in there that I don't really like, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get them out.
Do you want to say that? Yes, please.
This is why I hate orange. It's drying too much now. Stop it. It is what it is. And then we're going to dry it totally. Okay. So now that's dry. We'll take the gold and we, with a smaller brush, we go over the shapes of the mountains that we drew in, making sure that we keep within our line for the bottom of the the mountains so that we're straight. And you can actually do it for that little mountain as well. Little mountain, little island. Then we need to dry. And with the same brush, and it's dry, go in with a bit of the pink over those front mountains that we drew in. You can also go over the island as well. And before that dries, with a small brush, get your Payne's grey and just put in, I'm just sort of dotting in some Payne's grey along that bottom line, and it's bleeding up into the mountains. Stop when you get close to the island, otherwise it'll bleed into the island in the wrong place. And then with the island, exactly the same thing. Dotting in, not drawing a line, but dotting it so that it bleeds up in places. It's bled up further there. It's a row of trees or whatever, really. That's that. And whilst we're waiting for things to dry, we could do some birds. So that's Payne's grey on your liner. Draw them at different angles because they don't all fly the same way at the same time. And of course, then there's the one that's down by the water. Don't forget his reflection. So you draw him upside down, and then you just pull your finger through it gently. Next thing I'm going to do are the grasses, etc., at the left corner. So I'm going to use a mixture of the blue with the pink to make a mauve. Just going to add a little bit of Payne's grey to that so that it's just a wee bit darker. And the same as before, put your grasses in. So and then change to a smaller brush to make finer grasses. Use your brush sideways to make the thicker grasses down the bottom. You can have a really tall one. Some little light bits, because there's all sorts of grasses in there really, some with heads, some with just stalks. And just do a few across the other side, using the brush on the side to pull them up, so you get a thick bit at the bottom. And then you can do your tree. So wiggle a line up. Make that just a bit thicker down the bottom. Do a couple of branches off, twigs, twiggy things. You can make some bulrushes if you want. And the line where the pink goes into the blue, just put a flow line in, and then go underneath and bleed it and blend it out. You could do one with the pink if you wanted, a little bit of pink where the pink changes. Underneath with a damp brush, blend it out. I'm going to do the trees on this island. So we've got 3, or from we had from the morning. So that's one. We had another one. Can never draw them the same. 2. And 3. And we need, with this, not the liner, but the next smallest brush, we need to have some reflections from that island. So draw that island shape, mirror that island a bit in the water. And then just pull out a few edges just to make it look like there's ripples and things. And we need to do the trees. So mirror the trees, pull them down. 1. I'm just using straight Payne's grey for this. 2. Oh, that one didn't work very well. 2. and 3. And with a little bit of Payne's grey on your brush, just go on your horizon line and just pull down ever so gently, not too much paint. It's just an idea of a reflection of the Payne's grey. So I'm just working my way across. Just pulling down a little bit, not as much as the trees or that island in front. And some over this side as well. And we just got a little bit. Now, if you really wanted to go to town, and you could get a bit of the pinky gold and just drop that in where it's reflected. And I've only done short lines, I've not done the whole. And I just pulled it down. I cleaned my finger up after the Payne's grey. Or use different finger anyway. So you can get an idea of the, it's not a solid line. It's just to give you an idea that I have thought about the reflections there and the reflections there. We've got the bird, we've got the islands. Oh, we just need to make sure that that line there underneath the island is quite, it stands out fairly well. And that's about it, I think. Got a tree. You can make the tree a bit taller if you wish. It's only a weedy thing. And that's it. That's it.